The Bucks need to impress Giannis Antetokounmpo on the free agency and trade markets this offseason, and they've got until somewhere around the middle to end of July, at which point Giannis may look around and decide he can't win in Milwaukee and then ask out. The rest of the NBA is starting to behave as though that's going to happen, and so I want to talk a little bit about what this could mean for the market overall. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you subscribe right here to the channel. All right, let's get into this. This is from Brian Windhorst of ESPN. Said, can the Bucks, between keeping their players and potentially trying to find a stopgap point guard, can they present Giannis with a team that can be a contender in the Eastern Conference? The league doesn't think so. For the record, I don't either. I know the East is wide open, but I don't see a path towards the Bucks, given the limited assets that they've got and the way their salary cap is currently set. I don't think they've got the ability to make the leap to be a contender, aside from just Giannis is so damn good that he's going to drag us to the finals. That may be the only plan. Now, there's also, and we've talked about this, a plan in Milwaukee, a tentative one, to say, hey, Giannis, don't leave the East. It's much nicer over here in the Eastern Conference than in the battlefield of the West. So what we want you to do is stay here, take a gap year. We won't be in the mix this year, but next year, look at all the free agents that we've got. Look at all the cap flexibility we're going to have next year. Wait until then, and then we can do some things. And remember, no Damian Lillard for the vast majority of the season, if not the entire thing, due to an unfortunate Achilles tear. That doesn't help the Bucks' case either, that they have to go find somebody to play Lillard's role and then hope that somehow, some way, right around the very end of the season, Damian Lillard can get back in action, which again, is a bit of a dangerous proposition, waiting and hoping that a 35-year-old Damian Lillard can recover from an Achilles tear and then join the team and be productive. That's the key, right? It's not just getting back, but it's getting back and being productive and ready to play playoff quality basketball. That's what they have to sell Giannis on. Hey, hang in there this season. We'll try to do a couple things this summer, but hang in there, keep us afloat, and then Dame's going to come back right at the finish line and push us over the top. Well, what's Dame going to be coming off of an Achilles tear? Is he going to be 70% of his former self, 50%? What does that look like? Does that really give the Bucks a chance? And right now, the rest of the NBA, according to Brian Windhorst, is looking at it saying, no, it's not. And so Giannis is going to take that look around in third week of July, end of July maybe, and he's going to say, well, damn, I can't win a championship with this team, so I need to go somewhere else. Now, contractually, Giannis is under contract for 3 more seasons at most. He has a player option for the final season. So that makes it a very non-Durant-like situation for the Milwaukee Bucks. It's not like Giannis is going to be a free agent the next summer, as KD was, and he's going to be able to limit his market that way. I think there's going to be, 29 teams will make the call on Giannis Antetokounmpo. But here's what else Windhorst had to say about the situation. I think this is pretty important. He said, this is why the Giannis situation is why over the last few days, we've seen a couple of teams who could have bid for Kevin Durant. This is critical. A team like New York, Miami, potentially a team like San Antonio, not get into that bidding. That's exactly what we thought was going on with the Kevin Durant situation. Why was Miami's offer so low? So reportedly so low. Why were the Spurs not that interested? Was it just a timeline thing? Or were teams holding on to assets in case they had an opportunity to get Giannis? I think teams didn't want to do anything that would sacrifice their ability to get in on a Giannis sweepstakes should he ask out later on in July here. And that obviously impacted the Kevin Durant market because teams were willing to let the opportunity to get Kevin Durant slide by on the chance that Giannis Antetokounmpo could ask out. By the way, that should be a scary thought for the rest of the NBA. San Antonio lining up for Giannis Antetokounmpo. They've got significant assets, putting him next to Victor Wembanyama. Boom, instant title contender in San Antonio. If you pair Giannis with Wemby, the Knicks could get into the mix there as well. They certainly will try, and we know Miami is going to try for every star player that's out there. Got to give them credit for that determination they've got on that front. And we saw a Milwaukee Bucks 2026 first-round pick traded on draft night with the expectation that it could be a valuable pick because teams are questioning whether the Bucks will be a strong team next year because they are questioning whether Giannis is going to be there. All right, so again, that right there, I've talked about this already, how terrible I thought that how terrible that I thought the Pelicans deal was on draft night, trading the price they paid to trade up. They went from 23 to 13 to get Derek Queen, but they gave up the better of their pick or the Bucks pick in 2026 to the Atlanta Hawks. If you're Atlanta and you're seeing this Giannis news, you're going to fist bump. You're saying yes, yes, because now you've got two chances at a team falling apart, injuries, a trade, whatever. And next thing you know, you luck into a lottery pick next year. And that's where I'm talking about the Pelicans and the Bucks. If either one of those teams struggles next year, the Atlanta Hawks, because they got that 2026 pick from the Pels just for moving up 10 spots. That's all the Pels did. Derek Queen better be damn good. Maybe he will be. But just for moving up 10 spots, the Pels gave up the 2026 Bucks or Pelicans pick, whichever one's better, unprotected to the Hawks. And now there's still these rumblings about Giannis. So if you're the Hawks, you're looking at this situation and saying, Giannis, get out of there. Leave Milwaukee, and the Hawks will celebrate. Now, that may be reason for Milwaukee, if they do trade Giannis, to not go for future capital, to instead look for win-now pieces. That's certainly something to consider. And the Bucks, they won't have that incentive to tank this year, and the same will be true of the Pelicans. But still, we're seeing now this Giannis situation. It's making an impact around the rest of the NBA. I'm sure part of the reason why the Hawks were willing to do that trade is not just the excellent value, but the chance that Giannis decides he wants out of Milwaukee. We also saw the Knicks, the Heat, the Spurs not get all that into a Kevin Durant trade conversation, in part because of the chance that Giannis Antetokounmpo will become available. Here on Real GM, they note Antetokounmpo has 2 seasons remaining on his current contract with the Bucks, giving them leverage. The Bucks also face crucial roster decisions with free agents, including Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez, and Kevin Porter Jr. So here's the thing, like Brook Lopez, I think most around the NBA right now assume that he's going to leave Milwaukee. He's going to be gone. He's certainly not getting the money that he was this past season from them. I believe he was at like $22-24 million, something like that. He's certainly not going to get that from the Bucks, but or any other team. But he's probably going to leave. Gary Trent Jr. could be on his way out. What about Taurean Prince, who was on a minimum contract? This Bucks team could look significantly different next season, and not necessarily in a good way. Pat Connaughton picked up his player option as he was expected to. Bobby Portis is probably going to decline that option, and he's already said he's not taking a hometown discount. He wants to get paid, and I'm not going to fault players for wanting to get paid, but that puts the Bucks in an even more precarious situation. Now, they do have right now $28 million clear of the first apron, so that would make them a player using the full mid-level exception. But what if they have to pay Bobby Portis more? What if his salary goes up to $17 million, $20 million? What if it's something like that? That's going to chip away at things. You're paying Damian Lillard $54 million, and he's not going to be able to play for you for 90+% of the season. The Bucks are in a very, very tough spot. They also have traded away most of their future assets when it comes to draft capital. It's a difficult position for Milwaukee to be in. The rest of the NBA clearly looks at it, sees what's going on, and the vultures are circling. They are. And we could be talking about a Giannis trade here mid-July, third week of July, something like that. That in and of itself is problematic. That's reportedly from Shams Charania, the timeline that Giannis wants. He wants to give the Bucks the respect and the time to try to build something. So he's going to give them an opportunity here to work through things in free agency and on the trade market. By then, when a lot of roster spots are filled, that might make a Giannis trade a little bit more difficult logistically just to execute, though there are more spots available in the summertime still. NBA rosters increase during that time. So it's not as difficult as it would be mid-season, but still not as ideal to do a Giannis trade, say, 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, as it would be to do it right now, when a lot of teams have a lot of roster spots, a lot of flexibility, a lot of maneuverability. But still, it does seem like the pressure's on the Milwaukee Bucks to significantly improve this roster. And if Giannis looks around and looks at the Bucks roster and looks at the rest of the East and says, we're not there, his number one priority is winning a championship, we could very well be talking Giannis asking out towards the end of the year here. And again, according to Brian Windhorst, we've already got teams around the NBA that are starting to prepare themselves for that eventuality, that are starting to behave as though there's a real chance that he'll be available on the trade market. But everybody, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Appreciate all of you. Thanks for joining. And don't forget to subscribe right here to the Basketball Bulletin. Till next time, see ya and stay safe.